is just fantastic.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the exhibition of stupid people. There's been a 2-day gap, I do apologise, I went to Norwich for a few days. It was a great time. But we are back, we're in full swing, fully energised. We're going to start by talking about Palworld. Palworld is an action-adventure survival game developed by Pocket Pair. It is set in an open world populated with animal-like creatures known as pals. Players can battle and capture pals in order to use them for base building, traversal and combat. This sounds eerily familiar. As a big fan of Pokemon, I am very much interested in this game. It's not on the Switch though. I wonder why, we'll get to that soon. Players get to control a customizable avatar from a third-person perspective with the goal of exploring the open world of Palpagos Islands and uncovering the secrets. You have to control your hunger level, craft tools, gather materials, build bases, which in turn act as fast travel points. This all sounds like a more advanced version of Pokemon, which I'm still okay with. With the game coming out though, the modders were on this. They were on this fast. Because if something is like Pokemon, surely it would be fine to insert a Pokemon mod. Toasted on Twitter, Palworld already has a Pokemon mod. Full video on my YouTube, blah, I don't care. Reply from Garrett, this video is going to get copyrighted so hard I'm scared to even reply to it. And there's a point to that. Nintendo over the years have developed a reputation like the music industry and journalists that think they own everything, in the sense that they believe that once they have done something, it is theirs and only theirs. It is why I have mocked Nintendo mercilessly for their inability to consider that their rather antiquated interpretation of what could be considered fair use and intellectual property, where they think it should be globally as opposed to their own narrow-minded, locally interpretation, needs to go the way of the dinosaurs. They need to catch up with the rest of the world because they get mocked enough as it is. So the following day after tweeting out that they were making a video, Toasted, Nintendo has come for me, please leave me in your thoughts and prayers. Because the media was disabled in response to a report by the copyright owner. This is a very difficult argument to have though, because it is a mod in video game footage. Gameplay typically doesn't get much in the way of copyright claim against it because of YouTube's rules on fair use. So why is Toasted getting hit for using gameplay footage? Unless Nintendo themselves made the gameplay footage, which they didn't. I've had this with Dragon Ball Z. I've had this when referencing other animes, even though I'm not an anime person. I've referenced it with an image here or there, and the relevant company has come for me. Nintendo though have actually responded to this. We have received many inquiries regarding another company's game released in January 2024. We have not granted any permission for the use of Pokemon intellectual property or assets in that game. We intend to investigate and take appropriate measures to address any acts that infringe on intellectual property rights related to the Pokemon. We will continue to cherish and nurture each and every Pokemon and its world, and work to bring the world together through Pokemon in the future. Ever since the game Palworld went live, Pocket Pair have been receiving threats of the unalive variety, and they insist that the game actually closer resembles that of Ark Survival Evolved and Vanaheim than that of Pokemon. Sadly for them, and it's certainly something I noticed, this looks a lot like Pokemon to me but with more guns, which I'm okay with. And there's nothing wrong with people finding those kind of comparisons, because I think that makes it more interesting. At the same time, Nintendo are well within their rights to protect their intellectual property, but it's a bleeding mod. Modders do this all the time. If you want to go after the modders, go after the modders. The counter and criticism to that for Palworld is many believe that it is impossible to overlook just how shamelessly it takes ideas and designs from Pokemon. That is a quote from IGN's Travis Northup, which was in his Palworld review, also pointing to the unsurprising bugs, performance issues, and the work of keeping your base's supplies topped off needs a little retuning. But when you're riding on the back of a flying dragon while shooting a blue duck with an assault rifle, most of those blemishes wash away entirely. Turns out they really love this game. Nintendo should probably get on board and work with them instead of thinking that they should control and micromanage everything. Additionally, in case Nintendo didn't know this, modders are going to mod. Get over yourselves. Because the modders don't care. They really don't care about intellectual property because they just want to have fun. Maybe if your games were on other platforms as well, they'd be more inclined to play those as well. Although I will admit, Violet was a weak entry. As we're in the ballpark of copyright claims and this kind of nonsense, On the 18th of January 2024, Harley TBS had tweeted, "I received a legal threat to take down my Yandere Dev videos. TLDR, I will not be complying. 1 hour plus video out by the 20th. On the 23rd of January, Harley tweeted, "My 2-hour long Yandere Dev video exposing new evidence and a legal threat I received is now out. This is a thread of all the evidence I uncovered, including all of Yandere Dev's changes to the victim's document, comments on the document, etc." There was a belief that Yandere had actually lent on the victim to make them downplay the severity by changing the language of the original statement. In the post that Harley gives, they provide the proof that it was in fact amended, confirming the suspicion of many that somebody is a shady little prick who needs to grow up and stop talking to minors. The first image is a thumbnail. The second, though, share official statement on Yandere Dev. Included, you'll notice there, Alex is in there, along with Harley. The third image shows the official statement and the amended statement. Oh, this is not good, is it? So the before and after is quite a yikes moment, and we'll just confirm it by having a little close-up of some of those words. As I firmly believe, after doing a Yandere Dev video, this is good and vitally important context. The first bit highlighted, eventually things got a little spicy, amended to, until I made things spicy. The next, we had some casual conversation until the first incident, which is when I decided I should start recording. I saw a little about the Sisef's drama from a YouTuber named Ali MCC. Amended to, we had some casual conversation until the first weird interaction, then referencing previous allegations. Word Sisef's mentioned again, pervy mentioned. The next bit that was changed, I was really high, insanely high. Low-key wouldn't even remember that we talked if I hadn't recorded. That looks different, almost like it's not in the next bit. The next part jokingly asked me about a dog and peanut butter. If you know, you know. Do not look that up. You say joking, and that was, I assume, the bit that's changed. Oh, it's not here at all. My mistake. It continues on, some things being changed entirely, some with sentences completely removed, or in the case of a rather large part of it, added in afterwards to make it seem more grandiose than it really was, in the form of my goal was to prevent any future victims not being in the original post, and talking about Alex's vulnerabilities. That's interesting. So the next image is the one you'll really like. Can we please tweak this line? I'm not trying to learn, I've already learned. I developed an understanding of why my actions were wrong back in September. I acknowledged that I needed to adjust my mentality and behavior, and I've been working on myself for the past 3 months. Can we please update the text to reflect that? The answer, Alex, should be the following. No! No further explanation required. The fact you had to get someone to change their entire statement just because you feel so self-important speaks volumes about your entitlement and your arrogance. I can tell you're a millennial because of the entitlement from that one message alone. You should, Alex, be well and truly ashamed of yourself for leaning on that person to change their statement because you've changed. You've changed does not alter the fact of what you did then. It really doesn't, and they shouldn't be inflating your own sense of importance and your pride and your integrity. You're the one that has to repair that, not them. You are, as a creator, as a developer, a disgrace to the entire industry, and you're a disgrace to the human race. I would use the word bully, but your type is a very subtle, manipulative way of, but look at me, I've improved. Bitch. The only thing you improved was the shape of your face when you put a baseball cap on. Recently it was announced that J.K. Rowling, the creator of the Harry Potter franchise, will be the executive producer of a new Harry Potter series on Max. This announcement has stirred some of the fans. I had thought this was a bit of an extension of her creation, which seems right. She should be involved in everything that involves her intellectual property. Many, though, believe that she shouldn't because it poisons the well. As the executive producer, she retains significant creative control and influence over the series. So to her, this remains true to the spirit and lore of Harry Potter. Some fans have expressed outrage and disappointment over her continued involvement with the franchise. These are the same people that last year bought millions of copies of Hogwarts Legacy. They complained about her views on trans people, while simultaneously still buying the game and playing it. Okay. Others believe that her involvement is essential for the authenticity of the series, and I agree. 100% agree. Since the Fantastic Beasts movie series is essentially dead, We need something, right? I say we. Those who want to watch this kind of content need something, right? I once made a number of comments concerning Gary Glitter because of my inability to separate the art from the artist. I would recommend people do the same here. The Wizarding World in this instance was created by J.K. Rowling. You may not like what she has had to say about protecting women, biological women, and women's spaces, women's rights. You may not like that, but you are still the same people that desperately want this to exist at the same time. You can't have your cake and eat it without J.K. Rowling's involvement. It does not matter how right you think you are, you can only look deluded for so long. I found this backlash to be quite fascinating. I find it fascinating because, as I've already stated, many are still buying the games, many are still watching the movies, many still go to the Harry Potter experience. You unironically separate the art from the artist, but the moment the artist is involved in the art, you take an issue with it. But you will continue to support the artist by buying all the art. There is a level of hypocrisy involved in this that within certain fandoms I find, well, quite frankly, exquisite. Honourable mention time. We're going to do it to this person here who decided while someone was in the middle of their set to barge past them. I'm going to throw others under the rug though. People that use equipment and don't wipe it down afterwards, leaving your sweaty ball stains all over it. Or people who take weights off that I'm using mid-set to, well, cause me to be a little imbalanced, unbalanced, slightly skewed. To then unashamedly put your earphones in when I tell you you're a barnstorming thunder and you deserve nothing more than to be put in front of a fucking squad. It's not an overreaction, by the way, when you're doing shoulder presses and someone takes 25 off one side. It is quite noticeable. And in before someone says, how did you not notice someone take 25 kilos off one side? Because it was on my left side, my head was down looking at my phone, and I had earphones in as well. I was focused on replying to an email. Thank you for being that one person. You can now unsubscribe. Thank you. To the final subject. Recently, the Oscar nominations were announced. Barbie received a number of nominations. It was the second biggest movie of the year, so understandably, it was going to be taken notice. It was going to receive notice. It would get a few nominations. It had to because of the money it made. Spoken with no level of irony when Top Gun was omitted for quite a bit, a while back. Wasn't great. Anyway, Ryan Gosling has been nominated for Best Supporting Actor for his role as Ken. He isn't best impressed though that Greta Gerwig, the director, and Margot Robbie, the lead actress, were not nominated in respective categories. Now I should point out, his performance as Ken as a supporting actor is not comparable to the directors on the Best Director list for Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie for Best Actress, where let's face it, Lily is going to win that. She should, to be honest. Can you put Margot Robbie, for being in the biggest female-led movie with female director, above that of performances from different genres? That is a very tricky area to navigate. If you believe, because Ryan Gosling as a supporting actor and in the movie Barbie was nominated, that should therefore mean that cause and effect, Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig should also be included, you do not understand the nature of the business. And Ryan Gosling has been playing defense by saying it's a disgrace that Margot Robbie and Greta have not featured. I think he is very much going for an equal representation position, not realizing he's pretty highly regarded. Margot Robbie's had a few duds of late. One good movie is not going to help. And while this movie did make a lot of money, again, just because you are up doesn't mean everyone else should be. The supporting actor category is not comparable in the slightest. But of course I have to add the obligatory, none of this really matters, awards are just a way of hocking yourself to, well, charge even more for greater roles. Considering how much money Barbie made, Margot Robbie can command a rather sizable salary for future movies. Of course, she'd want her future movies to be successful, so less Suicide Squad please, and that emancipation of Harley Quinn bollocks. I saw this because Sargon of Akkad had tweeted out they are so angry because Feminist News had posted Ken getting nominated and not Barbie is honestly so fitting for a film about a man discovering the power of patriarchy in the real world. Many have been arguing whether or not Barbie is a feminist or anti-feminist movie. I personally don't care. I bought Oppenheimer yesterday, I'm going to watch that. I'm looking forward to it as well. I've been looking forward to watching that for quite some time. In fact, I chose Equalizer 3 over Barbie if memory serves. I made the right decision. I'd rather watch Denzel than something with a lot of bright colours. Now, much like last week, I had asked people to get more involved in the idea of collecting the dumbest stories into one big video at the end of the year. Whatever you think the dumbest thing we have covered today is, whether that just be me of course if you want to troll, put it in the comments. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, and smash the like!